Breaking news. Giant tire crashes down. He watched from the window as the car hit a tree at his doorstep, instantly making the young driver a friend of the tree. He found himself in the accident's whirlwind, feeding on news at work, until his boss interrupted with a question. On the way home, he was still showing his wife the accident news on his phone until she reminded him to keep his eyes on the road, or he'd end up as part of the accident scene. He excitedly shared his views on the accident, only to be interrupted by his wife, who seemed to say, "I want to hear about how you're getting home safely." Their son was singing in the backseat, and the wife thought to herself, this accident must not become her son's dark humor in life. However, things rarely go as planned. Back home discussing renovations, they suddenly realized their son had disappeared, only to react to the sound of bricks. The wife was shocked to see their son playing near the tree from yesterday's accident, as if he were on an exploration. He feigned calm, urging the child to leave. Seeing the skid marks, his wife insisted they clean it up. This is no art exhibit. He thought leaving the marks would be a work of art, but still complied with his wife, spreading grass seeds over it. Just a little rain, and the grass would easily cover up the skid marks. After finishing, he absent-mindedly weeded the lawn, when suddenly a car stopped nearby. The driver, with flowers and a cross, was undoubtedly a memorial visitor. He returned home like an invisible man, peeking at the family from the doorway. Seeing the family weep before the cross, he felt empathy, emotions tangled. After they departed, he couldn't resist going to it. He fidgeted with the toy ladybug watch, lost in its odd sensation. Rising to his feet, he glanced at the road behind him, where the skid marks and the sharp curve seemed to shout, "Come on, continue my unfinished." Stepping on it, he found rubber seemed to message, "Tire is still a symphony when cars slowed." Suddenly, he noticed there was a sign for the curve, but it was blocked by a giant. Tipsy and the obscured sign led to the death, yet he took no action, keeping the sign hidden, obsessed with the crash. He just hoped the next accident would happen soon. That night, friends gathered to celebrate their signing of a new life together, laughter filling the air. He inadvertently reenacted the scene of the car accident during the gathering, which unexpectedly turned into his very own solo performance. He rambled on to his friends about the details of the accident, sprinkling in his comments as if he were personally involved. It sent chills down everyone's spine as the atmosphere instantly turned wood. So they quickly changed the subject, but that couldn't shake his resolve to keep going, until he even disclosed specific details about the deceased. "I got a degree in football from St. Mary's, and his name was Kyle." Kyle, and at this point, he had already raised his glass, leaving the others with no choice but to take a sip too. The wife was fixated on why he knew so much about the deceased, while the friends' expressions grew increasingly complicated. Clearly, this immersive description of the crash was not in their plans for the gathering, but after the friends left, the wife couldn't hold back any longer. She was filled with grievances, expecting to avoid the topic of the accident, yet he kept fixating on it. The wife felt he ought to seek consultation with a therapist. Facing his wife's hopes and complaints, he ignored them and left, feeling a twinge of guilt. The next day, he decisively took down the trees that blocked the sign. This way, people passing would notice the sharp curve, but he still secretly longed for something. He sat alone on the lawn, drinking and watching the turn. Each time a car passed, he stared until they left. To him, this dimly lit curve was like a seductive beauty, alluring him as he waited days for an incident that never came. His patience began to wear thin as he returned to normal life. Just as he was grilling for his family, the sound of a crash outside sounded like a melody. He dashed to the curve like an Olympic sprinter. He yelled, "Stop, stop." Seeing the perpetrator flee, he raced over to the damaged car. The driver was dazed and couldn't speak. Passing cars saw this and, instead of helping, stepped on the gas and sped up. Watching the driver fading, he could only keep talking to get the driver's attention. "I live here. I was just having dinner by my grill." No, don't leave, stay with me," he thought anxiously. Just after he said that, the driver fell before him. Suddenly, the driver's phone vibrated, indicating someone was calling. Hearing the police car approach, he panicked and quickly reached for the phone. When the police arrived, he hurriedly stuffed the phone into his pocket like a rabbit. Once home, his wife was already packing up, getting ready to sell the house. In just days, 2 car accidents here led to deaths. No wonder the previous owner priced it low, a lesson in cheap price, poor quality. However, after chatting briefly, he diverted the topic. "I live here and it was really sad to see him pass away. Are you okay?" They shifted to discussing property, and concern seemed to arise. As for the evaluation of the house, he had only one line. The next day at work, he pulled out a data cable and checked the contents of the driver's. Thinking back to last night, the driver was still lively, taking selfies and joking while golfing. He suddenly had a bold idea. He donned a black suit and headed to the driver's memorial service. However, he casually walked to the table first, taking a bite of the treats. It turned out that the pastry was far tastier than he had imagined. He eagerly swallowed it in one bite, quickly wrapped another piece in paper, and then slowly made his way towards the driver's memorial. Seeing the driver's daughter staring at the remains, he tried to strike up a conversation while enjoying the delectable snack. A strange feeling surged within him, as if he had shared countless wonderful moments with the driver. Remembering how he could do nothing while the driver suffered, he decided to enroll in a first aid class. Many students were in the class, but none were more serious than him. After the class ended, the other students left, but he stayed behind to speak with the teacher.